Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Gone are the days of wrestling with our favorite LJN wrestling figures, trying to convince them to stand up. What's a guy to do? I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get on Etsy and look up 4 Left 3D Creations and get yourself these amazing custom LJN figure stands. There is a custom stand available for every single one of your LJN wrestling superstar figures. Make your display shine by grabbing these custom LJN stands from 4 Left 3D Creations today.
What's up, everybody? Jason of the Revolution Car. On the way to Canada, folks. Yes, sir. It is 10 a.m. on the dot. And I am pulling out of my parking lot in my office. I came in for one person this morning. I saw them last week, and they, had some heavy stuff going on. And, they could only do Saturday, and I didn't feel it was right to put him out 2 weeks. So I brought him in for one visit. I did a 9 o'clock, and now I changed into my gear and I'm hitting the road. I am headed to Canada right now. It's going to be about an hour and 20 minutes or so. I'm very close to Canada, close to Niagara Falls. And I'm super pumped. I am so pumped. I just love the vibe. I just love the feeling of Comic-Con Day. It's just I didn't sleep it's so silly. Like it was almost like I didn't sleep last night. It's almost like Christmas Eve. And I won't sleep when we go to Universal either, because we leave. I get up at 5 in the morning to go. We leave at 6 in the morning to go to Universal. So I won't sleep, which is going to be rough, but I just can't fall asleep. So last night, everybody went to bed, normal time after, it's Friday night, so the kids are up, and, maybe about, midnight, I started to, I turned the TV off, went to bed, and I didn't fall asleep. So I got up at like 1:15 and watched Hell House 3, which I think is Lake of Fire. Hell House, there's 3 Hell Houses. These are indie films. They're on Shudder, and they're great. They are great. I love the Hell House series. Very, very good. Scary, jump scares, creepy. You know how I like, the kind of horror I like. I don't judge horror. If it's scary, it worked, and Hell House is scary. And so I watched Hell House 3 last night, and it concludes the series. That was great ending, fun little twisty ending. And I turned the TV off, and I still didn't go to sleep. I probably slept an hour last night. Maybe like 2 or 3 hours last night. Maybe from like 4 to 7 or 5 to 8 or something. It was weird, and I think it's just because I'm excited. So I'm going to Niagara Falls. We're going to go to Frightmare in the Falls. There are a few Friday the 13th guests that I want to meet to continue the Friday the 13th meet and greet project. We'll see how I feel on the Corey Feldman front. I could see myself, if it comes down to, I brought cash. I think it's $320 cash, which I'll convert at the border and get, I don't know, whatever, $380 or so. So the twins from part 5, I think it's like Carrie and Carly. I don't know. I can't remember. Look, they're $50 each per autograph. And I would hope that they would have one price for a photo, right? Because they're both going to be in the photo. So I hope it's 50 per autograph, and then 50 or 40 or 30 for the photo. If they're double charging for photos too, I will skip them, and I'll use that money for Corey Feldman. You know, when I go to these things, the goal is to not even go to the ATM. You know, because my cash is from copays, it's from, you know, whatever, you know, eBay sales or whatever, you know, so I just use cash, and this is the cash I want to spend. I don't want to take out any more. So we'll see. I could get them all if the price works out. We'll see. But I'm super excited. I'm going the scenic route, which is interesting because of how close I do live to Niagara Falls. I don't have to get on the thruway at all, which is awesome because it's a fun drive. It's basically residential. You know, Route 104. If you're in Canada, near the border, you're familiar with Route 104. Well, you can take Route 104 all the way to the intersection of the street that my office is on. So I can literally take one road all the way to the border. So that's cool. I'll show you some footage as we're driving. I'll check in with you, whatever. I'm going to fire up the Jim Cornette podcast deal there and listen to him. Ever since I canceled Sirius Radio, which I did, I was just like, I'm in the car for such a short period of time. I don't listen to music anymore. There's no music ever in my car unless the kids are with me. And so I'm either going to drive in silence or I'm going to listen to Cornette. And I think I'm going to listen to Cornette. Or myself. Sometimes I just listen to my own shows because I'm a narcissist. All right, we'll see you for some driving footage, and then we're just gonna show up at the con. We're gonna explore, and you can see what I see, and this is gonna be great. See you in a bit. Yeah, folks, here's my drive. We're about 38 miles from Canada, and this is what my drive's gonna look like the whole way. It's just gonna be residential. This is cool. I love this. This is the route that I always go. This is so much more appealing than the thruway. You know, you get to see a ton of little stands and little antique shops and, you know, all sorts of stuff. There's a food stand I just passed. But yeah, this is it. This is the drive. Very nice. Very scenic. And we are 50 minutes away from our destination. Now, I think I'm going to eat first. The show goes till 6. So I think I'm going to park and then go get something to eat. I think I'm going to go sit at a restaurant in Canada there and have a few cocktails and dine a bit. You know, I'll have something that is pretty easy for me. I'll probably have a salad of some kind. If they got any, I don't know, gluten-free stuff or vegan stuff, I can eat that and not take a chance on having it affect me. So I'll probably do that first. Really, that's more about the cocktails. You know, I'd like a few drinks before I get to the show. So we'll do that before we get to the convention. But we will see you at the convention. Goodbye. All right, we're here. I'm excited. Parking was insane, but we're on our way into the con, and we're going to have a great time. And we've got a cocktail. Trust me, it's in there. right, guys, we're out. That's it. That's Niagara Falls Comic-Con. It is just a little after 1. I think it's closer to 2, maybe 1:45. Guys, I walked in here at 11:30, and I was done an hour ago. I'll tell you the story in the car, so I'm not walking and talking. But the three, the 4 Friday the 13th actors that I wanted, no line. Absolutely no line for either one of them. I literally walked right up to their table, got to talk with them for a little bit. We'll talk about Corey Feldman in the car, but the 3 actors, all right, 2 actors and a set of twins, 4 actors from Friday the 13th, no line, 0, absolutely 0 line. Right next to them was Corey Feldman. I never actually laid eyes on him. He was not at his table for the 2 hours that I was here, and his price for a autograph and a photo with him was $200, and I'm not doing it. So I'll get to the car and I'll tell you a little bit more about the experience. All right, folks, the show is over. The big show, the Comic-Con, the Frightmare in the Falls is over, and it is 1:39. I got here at 11:30. Yeah, about 11:30, 11:45, about 11:45. And I was going to take myself out to eat, and I didn't. And now I kind of regret it because, I always get nervous at these things. Like, I'm not going to get in enough time, and, the lines are going to be too long. No, I've been here for 2 hours, and I'm done. And I had to force probably the last 45 minutes. I walked around, I hit every table, I looked at stuff. I made a few purchases, and now it's just time to go. So the show is over in 2 hours for me. The 3 actors. So we met, and I'll show you the photos later. It's Friday the 13th, the final chapter reunion, which included Corey Feldman. We'll talk about him in a minute. But we got Camilla Moore and Carrie Moore, Terry and Tina, the twins from final chapter. They were great. We'll tell stories about that at home. We got Kimberly Beck, who was Trish from the final chapter. We'll talk about her in a minute. Talk about her when we go home. And then we got Eric. Yeah, I should know Eric Campbell. I should know these things, right? We got Rob from Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Their autograph prices were $50, and their selfies, their photos at their table were free. $50 autograph, free picture. So for $150, no, actually the twins were $50 each. Yes, so for $200, I finished up the people that I wanted to meet today. I brought $320. It was converted over to $417, which is a massive conversion rate. So I had $417 cash on me, and I spent $200 on the photos and the autographs. Corey Feldman's line was right next to, it was like a Friday the 13th row. So Corey Feldman was right next. Ari Lehman was here too, but I've met him already. Corey Feldman's line was right next to the twins line. And the line for Corey Feldman had wrapped around itself probably 4 times. So you were likely going to be in that line for about 2 hours. And I got a chance to walk up to his table, like you can kind of peek over and you can see his pricing list. And for a personalized autograph, it was $120. And a photo with him at his table there was $80. So for $200, you could meet Corey Feldman. He charges more for non-personalized autographs. So for a non-personalized autograph, he wants $200. And he's probably thinking, well, if you don't want me to write your name on it, you're going to try to flip it on eBay, which is just a joke, because maybe people want a poster signed and they don't want their name on the poster. They just want the actor's name. He's not buying it. So that was a big factor of why I wasn't going to wait 2 hours and pay $200 to meet Corey Feldman. And I know that's, I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of regret on that one. I don't know if I'm going to have a lot of regret. I just think that to inflate your prices that much is just ridiculous. You're not that special, man. You're not. There's bigger name actors that are charging a lot less for their autograph. Highlight of the day. Well, there's a lot of highlights of the day. But highlight of the day, Michael Cudlitz, who played in Walking Dead, but also played in 90210, was there. And he's a big actor. Michael Cudlitz from Walking Dead fans would be all over him. But for some reason, he had absolutely zero people in his line. And he was just kind of standing off to the side of his table as I was getting ready to leave. And of course, I watched him in Walking Dead, but I went up to him, just walked right up to him and said, "Hey, do you have any pictures of you in 90210?" And he laughed and said no. And then we talked for about 10 minutes about, I should probably bring maybe 10 or 12 to each show because, you're not the first person that's asked. And I was like, yeah, you and Brenda at the prom would be a great picture. She's like, yeah, me holding a cigar. So we laughed a little bit, shook hands, and I walked away. So I got to meet Michael Cudlitz and talk with him for free. So that was cool. I'm going to go home now. It's only 1:45. I'll be home by, 3:30 or so. And that's it. That's Frightmare in the Falls. Great time. I accomplished everything I wanted to do. I laughed at Corey Feldman's prices, and I don't regret it. And I bought a couple things. I'll show you the autographs and the photos. The photos are on the Facebook page, but I'll show them to you when we get home. And I bought some VHS tapes, and I bought a cool hat. And I'll show you then now, when we go home. Right now, actually. Right now. Oh, yes, we are back in the cave after a bit of a drive, like an hour and 35-minute drive. I will quickly go over the pickups from the from the con. Now, back in the early days of the collection, I would go to these things and come home with lots of stuff. But I don't anymore because I don't have any room for anything, and I don't need anything right now. So especially the horror cons usually have a couple of VHS dealers, and so I got some VHS tapes just to add to the mini blockbuster. And I think I paid probably $20 for all of these. They're overpriced. They're $5, $8, and you get a deal on. And what's dreadful is that I go to one table, I buy 2 VHS tapes for $8 each. I get them for $15, save $1. And then I go to a table a few minutes later, and they have the same ones that I just bought for $5 each, of course. So real quick, I just watched the 1980s version of The Blob. And now I have the VHS of the original Blob, which I think is pretty cool to add. This is a movie that, was just always all over HBO. In fact, it's from HBO Video. And I just remember this movie being advertised so much. It is from 19... something or other. I would say like 84. Maybe 84. Doesn't say so on the back, of course. But I'd say like 80. I'd say 84. It's 86 according to the Roman numerals. But The Hitcher. The Hitcher from HBO Video, which I think is pretty cool. So we've got that. And then this movie I've almost bought on Blu-ray from Best Buy, but it's always sitting at like $29.99 still. Forget that. For $5, we got a VHS of The People Under the Stairs. I have never seen this movie. This is going to be on the show, hey, I've never seen this movie until now, in 2 weeks. Next week, we have one already picked out. This one is going up on 2 weeks, and then The Hitcher is going to go up the week after. I haven't seen this either. And then I was at I probably shouldn't have bought this because it probably cost about probably $6 to make, and they were selling it for 20. But I got a Friday the 13th trucker hat. I mean, yeah, it's all right, I guess. It's a little fat on top. I don't know, but you know, whatever. I know these trucker hats are like $5. You can buy them in bulk for probably even less. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. I don't know. It's kind of cutting into my ear a little. Is this a regret buy? Is it? Maybe. It might be a regret buy. It's just a beat up old cheap hat. When you buy these hats in bulk, you don't even get the good quality trucker hats. Not that there is a thing, but there is a thing. And this is not. This is the more I look at it, it's kind of floppy and whatever. I don't know. It's been $20. Friday the 13th. Trucker hat. Whatever. I always regret stuff. All right. Kimberly Beck, who played Trish. Here is the autographed 8x10 of her. She inscribed her famous line, "Run like hell." XO. Kimberly Beck. Trish. Friday the 13th, final chapter. Love it. She's very nice. Very nice lady. Very nice lady. You can see the photos here as I show you. She was lovely. These three actors that I'm going to show you had no lines. And when I say no lines, I don't mean one person in line. I mean nobody. So I walked. They were all three next to each other. So I just went from one to one to one and got them all done in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. So she was talking to me a little, and you know, whenever I do these, and they're like, "Well, what's your name?" And I say Jason. And they're like, "Really?" And I'm like, And she's like, "It's okay. I married a Jason." So she's very nice, lovely. She had a mask on. You know, the COVID mask. But she took it off in photos. I didn't ask her, but she just said, I don't have COVID. I think I've got a cold, and I don't want to stand too close to anybody and, you know, breathe on them. But she was removing the mask for the photos. And because honestly, I wouldn't have gotten a picture with her if she had the mask on, but I also wasn't going to ask her to remove her mask like some Neanderthal. The good thing about these guys is they were $50 for the autographed 8x10, and the selfies were free. And I just think that is so fantastic. In fact, I thanked all of them for the free pictures and for doing that, because, you know, the doofus right next to them, Corey Feldman, was a $200 combo, as it's called, photo and autograph. $200 to meet Corey Feldman, and there was 200 people in his line. It wrapped around itself multiple different times. I literally would have been there probably 2 or 3 hours waiting in that line to spend $200 on Feldman with his sunglasses on. Whatever, dude. Eric Anderson, who played Rob in the final chapter. In fact, he is Trish's, boyfriend type guy. He was there, nice guy. You can see the photo. He's aged, as they all have, of course. I thought he was older in this. He always seemed like he was like 30 in this movie, but also nice guy. And then, of course, when I say that my name's Jason, he wrote a question mark next to it as if he was questioning me. Are you sure? Yes, it's great. Okay, so your basic thing, no quote or anything. I don't think he had any big-time famous quotes. Puts Rob there, that's fine. And then my favorites, Camille Moore and Carrie Moore, who played the twins, Tina and Terry. Lovely women. They were both there, obviously, at their table. And I was telling them, because, again, nobody's in line. And they're talkative. And so I'm talking to them, and I said, I got this YouTube channel thing, and somebody asked me who I thought the hottest Friday the 13th actresses were. And I said, here's a spoiler. I'm going to say that you guys, there's a second and a third, very close second and third, but I think, and I don't want to spoil the answer on the Power Hour, but I believe that Camille and Carrie Moore were the most attractive, appealing. Maybe it's the twin thing, I don't know. But I said that to them, and they just loved that, and they thought, that's wonderful, thank you. We've got, there's such competition, and you picked us, oh. So we've got the autographed 8x10 of the two twins, And so Camille's quote is, "You were incredible," because that is a line from her movie. And then Carrie Moore said, "Well, what would you like me to write? Because my famous quote is, 'You slut.'" She calls her sister a slut in the movie. And I was like, well, I didn't want to have another Warrington Gillette situation with your asses or your assess at the lake. And so I was like, well, I mean, it's hanging in my living room. And she goes, "How about we're the hottest?" Because of the interaction we just had. So we are the hottest. Carrie Moore, Terry. Tina and Terry, the twins from Heartfire. And that is why I go to these Comic-Cons. And that is why I spent $100 on these two lovely ladies. $50 per autograph, and then the photo was free. But that's why. For that kind of brief interaction, real quick, thank you. You make me feel nice. I'm out of here. So that's it. That's the con. Good time, great time, and I'm home now. And yeah, so I did not get to run into a couple of people who said that they were going to go. I did hear from someone who said, "We just missed you, or we saw you walking away from afar," and that's a bummer. I'd really love to. I'd really love to get together with some of you at some point. I know last year we were talking about not a meet and greet, but a get together, a fan friend get together. I don't know. We got to figure out something like that. These cons are really the best way to do it, but we got to figure out a way to get together. All right, that is all. And I hope you enjoyed the footage, and we'll be back tomorrow with a massive double feature tomorrow. Massive. Sunday is going to be our big day, Sunday fun day here on the channel. We've got a Power Hour and we've got a Wrestling with the Past. The two biggest draws on the channel, Wrestling with the Past and the Power Hour, back to back tomorrow. And we'll see you then. Good night now.